Hi, in this video I'll show you how to turn a Saturine Terminator into a Chaos Nurgle Obliterator. I love the somewhat ridiculous proportions of the Saturine, but I have to say it just doesn't work with how the arms attach. These tiny ball joints where the arms attach to, it just doesn't fit in Astartes at all. So as for all of my kit bashes, I dive right into my humongous bits box to get properly inspired. For this build I was looking for arms, shoulder pads, weapons, small armor pieces, guts hanging out, anything that really works nurgly. I like working on two models at the same time. Usually what I do with the first model inspires what I do with the second. This allows me to use ideas and bits that didn't quite fit in the first model to be used in the second model. Sometimes you find pieces that are just too good not to use. But if you use them on the wrong model, you kind of break with the vibe, you mess up the proportions, and that's really sad. But by going back and forth between two models, you can give one a creative break and then focus on the other one, try out what the, let's say, one left arm on both models, and then just see where it fits better. Here was one of those moments where inspiration struck. I found this old Hellbrute that I always wanted to paint and that I had modeled a bit of a stomach on, as I'm a Nurgle guy, but I never got around to do it. But the arm with the multi-melter on it, that looked really well. It was kind of ridiculously large, but these models are ridiculously large, so I decided one of them is gonna have it. And yes, this requires me to cut up a model that I was waiting to paint for maybe 3 or 4 years now, but that is what kitbashing is about. Now this is a special thing. This is my first bits box. Back then I used to sort everything, I don't do that anymore, but it's nice if I look for head pieces or shoulders. And then I have these smaller bits boxes. These are project big bits boxes. I'm working on a knight, so I have one bits box where all of the knight's pieces are in, or stuff that I have sorted earlier, ideas or like abandoned little projects. Like this little guy was supposed to be basically the weapons for one of those blight drones that I had built without the weapons because creativity decided to do so, but it needed to have its rocket pod, so I put that on there. I have these smaller bits boxes because sometimes certain bits need to be in creative quarantine together for a while. I like to put all of the bits, or most of the bits that I found that time, onto the table and sort them. So I have torsos and legs in the middle, then I have heads above, I have right arms on one side, I have left arms on the other side, and then I have connective bits, I have weapons, I have armor panels, certain add-ons and accessories already, so I can already see how things are going to go together. And right away, inspiration struck. I had these Obliterator legs, and I had these green legs, I forgot where they're from, and I had this from an old possessed model, I think. I had the chest piece, and that just fit in there right perfectly. For me, the next step is just holding things together, not gluing anything yet. Maybe cutting something apart, but just holding things together, see how it looks, changing the proportions, changing how far the pieces are from each other, different angles, or just turning things upside down. Most of these bits come from random bits collections that I buy on eBay, or old kits, or even sometimes I see a kit and I specifically buy something for, let's say, the legs or the torso, and all the rest just goes into the bits box as well. And here you see some stuff from I think there was a combat patrol for Nurgle stuff, and they have so many great stomachs and arms. Is really nice. It reduces the amount that I have to green stuff later. You can see I was playing a lot with these ogre arms. Those I got on eBay. And I was playing a lot with the heads. The heads turned out to be a bit of a problem because they were all way too large, and it somehow ruined the whole proportions of the thing. It just looked like a differently scaled Space Marine. Now that shoulder piece is from the plant called Hippocastanum esculum, I think, and with its spikes it just screamed to be a shoulder pad, even though it didn't really work. This is one of my old Obliterators, and this one required me to cut an Obliterator where I got this back piece from in half, and those legs I will use now as well. You can see that I'm going back and forth between the two models that I'm building, and this again really helps my creative process. Now, even though I like these kits for kit bashing, these new GW kits, you have to build them in very specific ways, and you need to have the instructions basically. So I leave them in the blisters. I like the silhouette that I've got going so far. It's like this slim waist and then these chicken legs. It's really fun. The problem with the hats solved itself at this moment. I found these teeny tiny hats. They look really nurgly and they were really fun. And with their weird proportions, they made the whole thing look swollen and bulky and disgusting. For the other model, you see it's very straightforward process. I found this arm that fits nice on the hip. For the other arm, I used the hammer of the Centurion, or of the HQ of that kit. And now the second model is also coming together. This one looks like a beefed up servitor with the tanks in the back. It distills its own poisons. It has this humongous cannon. I'm still looking for the second arm for this one. I think the Saturine shoulder pads look a little ridiculous on the original model, so I didn't use them here yet. I will in the end, but so far I used the something from the knight that's in the front of the weapon as a shoulder pad, and here I'm checking, I think it's like a Tyranid bit as a scythe. Using this bit from a war dog would have turned the model pretty much into an enormous servitor, so I looked at different options. Still on with the idea with the scythe, but here a little problem showed me, because I remembered that this model existed. I forgot, I think it's a Typhus model, and I basically recreated that model by accident, so I didn't go for the scythe. But yeah, also for this one I put another multi-melter on it and a teeny tiny arm. This way I think it looks really ridiculous, but I love it. Here's a great example how I kit bash those Poxwalkers and the Nurgle Fantasy kits. You see here that the bottom of the arm is the stomach of one of those Poxwalkers. And that will allow me to save a lot of green stuff. To make my green stuff work a little easier, I stuff the big gaping holes with aluminum foil. This way I can build onto something instead of having the green stuff fall into the model. In the end, all of these green stuff saving steps are completely irrelevant because I always mix up way too much, which I store in the freezer so I can use it the next day. I can usually only stretch just to one more day. And you can see here, there are a few areas that needs filling, like right at where the Poxwalker stomach is. Then the head nets need still placement, and there's like these tiny holes all around the model, and also some cabling that I want to add. As you see, I did end up using those Saturine shoulder pads, and they look really nice. They give this one a huge and broad silhouette, while the other one has this somewhat flimsy silhouette. Here you can see the green stuff is filled in. It's not the best green stuff job, but that is okay. And for the second one as well. I love these two different silhouettes that these two models have. It's really nice. For the paint job, I wanted to try something new. I wanted to imagine how they would look if you saw them in the warp. The colors with high contrasts, dark to very, very bright. So I was having a lot of fun painting this. First, obviously priming. Then you see here I fix them onto corks to handle them better. If they don't stand, I put them into this cut up Coke bottle, and that makes a really nice stand for the figurines while I paint them. And my paint process is basically very dark base color, and then I use more and more highlights, but I try to have bigger steps so as to have these contrasts and these somewhat vibrant, almost psychedelic steps. And you see I went for green for the armor, I went for purple to pink on the skin, and these blue trims will be dry brushed now with copper to turn them into the final result. really great one-day project. I had a lot of fun doing it. I only painted one of the figurines in the end, but the second will probably be painted eventually. It might take some time, as I have a couple of projects that have been smoldering in creative quarantine for a while and that I've stumbled upon while looking for bits for this project, and I've been truly inspired to keep working on them, finishing them up, and share them here with you. Thanks for sticking around, and a lot of fun. See you soon.